popping up on my end there. So that really. Hello, YouTubers. Hello, YouTubers. Raven here.
Starfire.
We got some lag going on, but that's okay. Just throwing me off a little bit, but we're fine.
Sorry, my computer, my laptop, either it does that. So. Although it's done a lot better doing it this way than it did on Zoom, because every time I did a Zoom, it kept like the internet just kept acting up and it kept freezing and saying your internet is unstable, and it just would like freeze and I couldn't even hear what you were saying and all that. So this is better.
Okay. Well, we're doing a review for The Flash.
A week late, but we are going to talk about the last 2 episodes if anybody still cares.
I got really sick, so I'm sorry, guys.
I mean, in a way, it's kind of it kind of works out that it's happening a week later, just because we want to prolong this as long as possible.
Right.
So, like, we didn't want to do it, but at the same time, we did. But yeah, there was other things that happened, and anyway, at least you're feeling better, so that's good.
Yeah.
But yeah, so it's season 9, episode 12, which was A New World Part 3. But I thought there was a name to it. I can't remember. And for part 4, it was finale. So for episode 13, it said New World 4 finale. I don't really. I mean, I'll try to remember episodes. Like, I'll try to go off what I remember. I remember more from the last one than from the 3rd episode, I think.
Right.
But yeah. Since you just recently watched them, you can talk about it.
Okay. Well, I thought episode part 3 was a decently good episode. I liked getting to see the future. I'm pretty sure that happened, and they kind of blend together. Those two really blended together for me.
Oh, the 3rd and 4th one?
Yeah, 3 and 4.
Yeah, I think they were kind of meant to do that. I think they were kind of meant to blend together.
More so than the others did.
They did. It was just so weird for me to see Eddie so evil.
Well, I mean, in the first part, he wasn't. He was still trying to figure out what happened, what went wrong.
I know, but like the fact that he was trying to like that life that he had before and like be with Iris, I'm like, oh hell no.
Yeah, I mean, but also like, and for him, it's
just
been
and Iris to the ends of the earth, man. Barry and Iris for the end of time, like.
Right, but like, imagine like you straight up died, right? Imagine that. And then you come back to life, and then you find out your fiance married someone else and is having kids.
Yeah.
But you thought, because like, it's like, yeah, I killed myself to save to save everyone. But then like, I come back to life, and I feel like only like not even a full day has passed, right?
Yeah.
And then like,
I understand.
You turn around and your fiance is married to someone else and having their baby. Like, I feel a little ripped off too, you know?
Oh yeah, I would feel betrayed, of course.
For sure. So, I mean, I think that the way he reacts isn't too far from, how most of us probably would react, Like,
Yeah.
I want my life back. I want back the person that I love. Like,
Right.
I'm alive, they're alive, get back together, obviously. Like, so I can see where he's coming from for that. Um, but yeah, like it's
No, I do too. I understand. I just
like I don't know. I feel sorry
But then
for him,
when
but then at the same time I don't.
yeah.
You know.
But what did Barry tell him in order for him to stop? I forgot.
Oh, he was like, I'm not gonna fight you anymore, and what would is some I think he said something like, "What would Iris want?" You know.
Mm. Okay.
I'm not sure if he repeated that because I know he said that in part 3 to try and convince him not to become Cobalt, but
Yeah.
that backfired. But I think it was more like him realizing that even doing this, like taking out Barry, is not gonna change how Iris feels.
Yeah.
You know? Like, what?
No, I just said I agree.
Oh. Yeah, like it's not gonna change it. It's like I think it just finally like clicked that like Barry's not gonna come after him. Barry like he cares for him,
Mm-hmm.
Like like all of his friends still care for him, and they're not like they're not gonna turn their backs on him. And I think that's what like snapped him out of it. Like made him realize, no, there are people who actually care about me. And doing this isn't going to change the future, you know? So I think that's what brought him out of it. Seeing how far Barry was willing to go. And not being able to like he wanted to kill Barry, but he didn't really want it. Like
Right.
It's like it's like that moment when like what are you willing to do? Are you like Barry said, you're becoming what you stood up against. And I think that also helped him snap out of it. He didn't want to be the evil that was feared. He wanted to be the hero, and killing someone because he wants a wife isn't gonna be a heroic thing to
Right.
do. So I think all of that combined really helped him to realize this isn't the right thing.
Okay. Was it episode 3 that we saw the future stuff?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Oh my god,
Yeah.
Allegra and Chester are married.
I know.
I was so excited.
Bro, I knew it. Like the second I heard that, I was like, "Oh my gosh!"
I
can
saw
only
I saw the
her
rings and
reaction.
I was like, "Oh my gosh, they're married!" Like I was so excited.
Yeah, I was like, "Oh my gosh!" My girl's reaction. Ooh, she had to have been like bouncing up and down on that bed. I remember.
I actually had to rewind it for a second because I had to like rewind it because I'm like, wait. And then I'm like, oh, they're married. This is great. Like, yes.
It's like I remember how we freaked out, you know, like when
I'm
when
just
Barry
so happy
proposed
that
and then
like
he proposed
I'm
again.
so
And like
happy that
we were just bouncing on the bed like
we were. Like
yeah.
I'm so happy that like they ended up, being Endgame. That's
Yeah.
awesome.
Right. And um I am I'm sad that freaking killed the lieutenant. He killed her.
What?
He killed Corber. She flew into his singularity.
What?
Eddie killed the
Oh.
policewoman. Like we've
Oh
been
yeah.
following her since episode 1, and she's dead.
Yeah, that sucked.
But then wasn't she also the one standing next to Kramer and Sting?
You remembered her name.
I did.
I always forget her name, but it's Kramer.
Yeah.
um,
But like wasn't that her? Like
yeah.
in episode 4, like in part 4 against the car with Kramer and Sting?
I think so.
Like
I'm not sure.
I thought that was her. But like I'm confused because she got sucked up into singularity. I was like, girl be dead, what?
Yeah, I don't know. Maybe it was or wasn't her. I'm not sure.
If it wasn't her, like if it was her, let us know. And if it wasn't, let us know who it was. It's someone that we know. It's like I don't know, like just the fact that she's lasted this long, right?
I know. She's like
As,
G.
dude, she's like the freaking news lady in Doctor Who.
She's like the what?
The news lady in Doctor Who.
Oh yeah.
It's the same news lady. It's the same news lady in like the Sarah Jane Adventures and in Torchwood. Like they kept that girl in the universe as a whole. Like it's like she's like her. Like you don't touch her, right?
Mm-hmm.
So it's just.
Yeah.
Don't touch Corber. Like, I mean, I feel sorry that I never really caught on to what her name was until the last. Like, all I ever was like, oh, it's that police woman.
It's supernatural when freaking that sheriff that you liked died or whatever.
Jody?
Yeah,
Was her name Jody?
I think
Or was
so.
that the blonde cop that was really peppy?
No, I think it was Jody. Did she die or did she live?
She died.
Yeah. That was sad.
Yeah, I always just called her the mom from Sweet Life of Zack. Because that's what I knew her from.
Well, you remember Jason or the Asian kid in season 8, Chan,
Yeah.
with the tablets. His mom, Lauren Tom, was on Friends. She played Ross's girlfriend in season 2 when he's dating Julie, like when Rachel finds out about Ross and how he felt about her and everything, and he comes back from China, the girl with Julie, that's Lauren Tom, and she played his mom in Supernatural. She played Jason's mom.
Oh, that's great.
Yeah.
Oh. But yeah, like.
But anyway, yeah, she
like
was like one of those characters who was there from the start. We didn't know her name. We didn't see her like all the time, but we just knew that she always was at the precinct. And like, So yeah, that was yeah.
Dude, like, I really hope that was her, that like somehow she survived and she got out of it. Like I don't like I don't know, like, and I do feel that 'cause, like, they mentioned her name. Her name was on a freaking plaque on part 1. Like, right there as you entered her office, you know? And like I couldn't notice her name. I couldn't notice them saying her name until the last, like, until like they were talking about her death. Like, I don't know. But she's like, to me, she's like the true MVP of the show because she did not get like she did not get even side character billing. You know, she got paid crap, right? And like she's been
Yeah.
there since day one, and I'm like, yeah. But
Uh,
for them to say that she's dead and then have someone that looks exactly like her show up, I'm just like, which one is it?
I literally like everything that I'm thinking about, I think was stuff from the last episode. So
Okay.
I don't want to like
Um.
start talking about that if you still have stuff to talk about for the third episode
Right.
or the third part, I mean.
I really like in part 3 when when we found out, like, I loved Cecile's story arc in that. Like, I remember seeing on Twitter a bunch of stuff how like people didn't care about side character Cecile and she's an overrated character, and it's the finale
Okay.
shows, like, why do we need to
When
focus on the side characters?
yeah,
And I'm like,
I just need
because
to
they're
I
the
just need to
story.
yeah. So you can get you a second, but I went on Twitter when like the East Coast was watching the finale. Like I didn't see some tweets and stuff,
Right.
but what I noticed is that a lot of people hated Cecile. Like they were really
Yeah.
hating her, and I'm like,
Why?
why? Like, why don't you like her? You know?
Mm-hmm.
Because they were mad that like, I mean, and I kind of agree with this to an extent where like it always like Joe and Cecile kind of cock block Barry and Iris moments.
Yeah,
And
but we're not to part 4 yet. We're still talking about part 3.
so like I kind of agree with that a little bit. But
Yeah,
like anyway, a lot of
right.
people were about Cecile for some reason, and I don't know why.
Because the entire episode was all about her, and they're like, it's the finale shows. Why
I
don't
love
we
when
get
she
more
did
Iris and
when she
Barry?
was freaking Godspeed when she was fighting them. That stuff was
Right?
freaking epic. Like that was
Dude,
awesome.
right? And I'm
The
sorry,
effect
but
with
we know
that were
everything there is
freaking
to know about Barry and Iris. We know how their story ends. We know that everything is going to work out fine. What we do not know is the story of the side characters. Give us the side characters. That's how you finish a story. We need to see how
yeah.
their arcs end as well,
Because when
not
you have
just how
so
the
many
main characters.
characters, yeah, because when you have
Yeah,
so many characters on a show, like you need to be able to give like have a story for each character and be able to wrap up that story when it comes
yeah.
to an end and not just make it about the main people. You know,
Mm-hmm.
it's like if you're gonna put side characters in it, then you need to give them story. You need to give them
Yeah.
background, character development, and all that kind of stuff. Because if you're just gonna put them in there and you're not gonna do anything with them, then it's not worth it. Like
No. Right. We needed that to wrap up her story and her journey, just like we needed to see that even though in that one future Chalegra broke up, like there's this new future where they're still together. Like where they weren't just like bumping uglies, they actually got married. Like you know, like help it.
So funny when you call it that. Oh, they're not bumping uglies. They got freaking married.
They weren't just doing push-ups with each other, okay? Like they got married. You know, like because in that one episode, like a couple seasons ago, you know, we found out that like there was this huge like gang attack or whatever, and they had been together, but then something about that fight broke them apart, right? But like it's great to see that like now in this future, like they're still together.
Yeah.
Like I don't know. It's just that part from me was good. Like it's
No, like I
know,
liked the
like,
stuff with Cecile. I really liked
oh yeah,
how she
it's like I
like that's
needed
what
that.
she became and everything with
Yeah.
that. Like I thought that was awesome.
Right. Like we needed to see that she was still there. She was still a hero even when they were obviously extremely older. Like like I mean in that future Iris is almost Cecile's age. So Cecile is like old. Right?
Mm.
And she's still out there fighting, you know. And I mean, yeah, it was sad that she had only gotten him twice that year, you know. Like I can't imagine
Yeah.
that, especially when she's set up what she has now. But now she's going into the future with foreknowledge that that happens, and so they can prepare for that, or maybe they can like find a way around it so she can actually go home instead of missing for the majority of the year. You know, like like they know that that's coming, so they can figure something out. You know, like it doesn't have to end up that way because now you know what's there. I thought they were really pushing the envelope with Nora holding Nora in episode 4. Sorry. But just being there for her own birth was pushing the envelope.
Are we talking about episode 4 now?
Yeah. Let's skip to episode 4.
Okay,
We're
so
not going to talk about that end with the Barry Iris cock block. We're not going to talk about that till we're done. We're going to talk about that at the end.
Okay.
What
did you about Wells being back, like Tom Cavanaugh?
I enjoyed him as are we talking Wells or are we talking Dawn?
Well, either one.
I loved him.
He was talking when he was talking to Caitlin or Keone.
When it was Keone still when he showed up as Wells. When Wells showed up, he was talking to Keone.
I liked that.
Yeah.
There were that weren't happy that they were like very. It felt very like
girl, you're cutting up.
Like they were
so
just kind of putting that in there.
What you're trying to say.
Okay, so
you're
I
cutting
said
up so bad I didn't hear you.
A lot of people back, but it also just kind of felt really rushed. Like they just wanted to put that in there.
The Caitlin thing?
With Caitlin. Yeah, with Caitlin.
Oh yeah.
Like that, but it was just they just kind of wanted to throw it in there.
Because
like Keone was gonna go and become
Yeah. It cheapened it. It felt like.
Yeah, it kind of did, because it's like we knew Keone was gonna like leave and she was gonna go and like, you know, become one
I
with like the
imagine there was
universe.
gonna be like this dust pile there, and then there's Caitlyn. Like,
But like Caitlyn died. I mean, she literally died.
I mean,
like
she
I don't know. It
did
just felt kind of
she
weird.
though? Like, that's the whole thing. Like, did she
Yeah, I mean,
actually die, or was she
Keone
still in there?
Keone was a product of Caitlyn. Yeah,
Well,
she
see,
probably was
because it
still in
was
there because like
Caitlyn's
Keone
body,
was a product of Caitlyn and Frost.
right? And but
Yeah,
like, it was Caitlyn's body went into the
Keone was
machine,
just inside.
right? Like, it was like a possession almost. Like, that's what they're basically playing it off as. I mean, that's what it seems like to me.
Yeah,
But at the
like she
same
was
time,
occupying her body.
right?
Yeah.
um, but like at the same time, like reviving her, like we were talking, like it does cheapen it. At least to me, it feels like we were cheated out of our emotional arc that we all went through. You know, we went through
Because
this
it's like,
story arc where we dealt with her death. We moved on. We
yeah.
don't need her to come back.
Because I mean, it was okay for like Keone to like leave and like go and be with nature and do, you know, what she was, but like that would have been okay if they just did that and didn't bring Caitlyn back in the process of that.
Right.
Like,
Exactly.
I would have been totally fine with that. But then all of a sudden she becomes Caitlyn again, and it's like, okay, that was really abrupt. That was really
Right.
weird. Like,
I mean,
why
we
is this
didn't
happening?
need Caitlyn back.
Oh.
There was no role for her to play, which is why they kept getting rid of her. Like,
Yeah.
they didn't know what to do with Caitlyn as a character, so why bring her back?
It really sucked that they couldn't get Cisco back. He wanted to do it, but like I guess there was scheduling conflicts and he wasn't able to.
Yeah.
But because Grant was saying that it felt really weird not having him be back for the last episode. But yeah, so
Yeah. I was gonna say, like, I know that they're vastly different, but they're also similar because they're superheroes. Right, but I know this is really childish, but I'm gonna bring it up. Power Rangers.
it's
Okay.
not childish.
There's a season called Lost Galaxy, right? You had this Pink Ranger who sacrificed herself. The only Ranger in history to die on TV. She died because the actress had to go deal with cancer. She got diagnosed. It was some form of like cancer, leukemia, like I don't know, you know, something big that she needed to go deal with. And so she couldn't be on the show anymore. So they replaced her. They killed her off. She's the only Power Ranger in the history of the TV show to be killed on screen. She's the only one to die, period. But I mean, besides like, you know, the descendant, you know, like the old Rangers obviously died of old age or whatever they died of, but they were never really talked about. You know what I mean? It's like the history of something. Like we know people died in the past, right? So for basic knowledge, no Ranger has really ever actually died doing their job, except for her.
Mm-hmm.
And she died to save another Pink Ranger from a previous season because they were doing a crossover event. The very last episode of the season, her replacement sticks her sword back into the stone because they got their powers by pulling swords out of the stone. There were a bunch of different swords, and they all pulled one out, and hers was the power of the pink. so she got pink ranger powers. But it was passed down to another person, and when she put the sword back in, guess who magically revived because the actress actually like went into remission.
Actress who had to leave.
She yeah. So it's like we went through all of this sacrifice and everything. We finally found a home for the traveling, like, because it was all like this human settlement going, like, it's the first time humans sent out a settlement spaceship, and they were looking for a place to go live because Earth was overpopulated or something. I don't remember. But like, and she sacrificed herself so that they could continue to search for that, so that she could save the people of the station, so that they could continue to search for a new home. And at the end, put the sword back and her spirit manifests and she becomes corporeal and physical again. And I'm like,
oh my gosh.
Why? We spent half the season without her. She died. We spent 20 episodes without her. We're good. We're coming back to feast the purpose of her death. Like, so that, like, the moment I saw Caitlin standing there, I felt like I was watching the ghosts come back to life. I was so tired.
Yeah,
like,
that was.
What? Like,
That
legit,
was.
my first
Yeah,
thought was, why are we doing Power Rangers Lost Galaxy in The Flash? Like, why is this happening? Kendricks was my first thought. Like, I saw Caitlin and I thought, Kendricks? because of how it happened is just similar, you know? Like, we didn't need them to come back. It ruined the story. It cheapened everything.
It did. I like whatever.
Right. I like Cecile's
but
name.
yes, me too.
Yes.
Awesome.
Virtue. You can call me Virtue. I'm like,
yes.
Oh yes, you can. Woo!
Yes. Yes. Okay. So I loved the montage that we got of Barry and Iris. I'm not gonna lie. Right. During like when Joe was, we got to hear Jesse L. Martin singing, which was amazing because he's such a great singer, and he was in Rent, and yeah. So anyway, it was cool. And then when he was singing, they were showing all of the of West Allen, and oh, it was so nice to see all of that.
Yes.
And when he grabs her hand when she's pushing the spark.
Yeah.
I loved that.
I did too.
I loved that panel.
See, for me, the whole like Nora being there when she was born, my mind automatically went to Charmed, and why Chris had to leave before he was born.
Oh, went to Charmed.
Yeah. And then when she was holding herself, my mind automatically went to Doctor Who season 1, where Rose keeps her dad from dying, and she goes to the wedding and meets her baby self, and the doctor warned her not to touch herself, and then she did. That sounded wrong, but you know what I meant.
No, I know.
She ended up holding herself like as a baby, and so then
it's like a back to the you don't want to meet your future self or something bad will happen.
So like freaking Nora's already there for her birth. I'm like, okay.
Or your past. Yeah.
Right. I'm like, okay, we can get away with this. It's doable. And then she's holding herself, and I'm just like, No. No.
Did you hear what she said? She's like, "Oh, you think this was hard? Like, wait till Bart is born."
Like, you think the 24 hours before my birth was difficult? Wait till Bart's born. I'm like, girl, you're already holding yourself.
Oh,
This is more difficult than that.
yeah.
But yeah,
It was so weird though. We didn't talk about, okay, so like when Eddie or Cobalt, like he sees Nora, but she's like blonde, you know, and she's all like calling to him and like holding out her hand, and then he meets her
Daddy. I'm
later,
like, Daddy.
and he recognizes her.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And like,
that was
look, okay, you got the same actress, and just because her daddy is blonde, you make her blonde? Like, no. No. That's not how genetics work. Like, at all.
yeah.
Like, no. His baby would not look just like Nora, but with blonde hair. Just because Iris is the mommy, that's not how this works.
What I think is interesting though is that baby Nora is darker than older Nora is.
Well, sometimes that happens, like for darker skinned people. Like, I mean, like they sometimes
Sometimes it's like if
come
one of the
out
people is
darker,
white and one is
and
black,
then
yeah.
and then they kind of like the dark, like they start to get more pigmentation as they grow older, and a little bit more lighter. It's almost like with hair color when, like, my brother was born blonde, now he's brunette, so he went from bright to dark, right?
Yeah. My hair was like
dad, but he's
my
really
hair was
brunette.
like when I was
But
little, my hair was more of a light brown and it was like more curl, more like wave. And I mean, it still has wave in it now, but like when I was little, it was like really.
Mine was really wavy, but mine's really heavy now, so it took out the waves because it's heavy. If it wasn't so heavy,
but yeah,
it would be curly. But yeah,
sometimes,
I mean,
yeah,
I'm
that's
not
true. I
trying
mean,
to
sometimes like
compare,
if one is white and one is
skin.
black, like child can be like a little bit lighter but darker too.
Yeah. Like, I'm not trying to compare skin pigmentation of any color to hair color, but like it's the closest thing that we have to be able to describe what happens. Because like sometimes the baby is born darker than they are when they're older. Like, it happens. And sometimes it happens the other way. You know, sometimes you're born a little lighter and then you become darker.
Yeah.
It happens. It's just however
it was
your
just interesting
DNA
because
or
I
your
didn't
skin
know.
pigmentation reacts with
Yeah.
the world outside.
It was just
your
interesting
mom.
because I didn't know what she was gonna born. Yeah. I didn't know what she was gonna look like when she was born, so
Right.
it was interesting to see that.
It was a bit different. Yeah.
But yeah, I liked the montage we got. I liked the singing and the spark when he grabs her hand and yeah. And then we come to they're all back at the house a week later and at the loft or whatever. And Joe is like, "Oh, I think we should get married."
We're there for Nora. Like,
we're there for
we're
what?
Celebrating Nora's birth. We're there as a celebration for Nora, and you know what we should do? We should get married. That celebrates Nora, right?
Yeah.
I'm getting
Oh,
a
I
big
did
old
like.
grand speech about Barry and Iris and love. Hey babe, let's get married. Like,
I'm just glad that we get to see the adult Nora one
yeah.
time, like, Nora Barry's mom, Nora, like Speed Force Nora.
hmm
When she came and was like, he's stuck in there, and like she was trying to help them and
Yeah.
stuff.
It's sad that that she's gone now, though.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I mean, that was
Um.
like, I was like, I
mhm.
don't dislike Cecile. I like Cecile.
Right.
That her story, the way that her story ended. But
hmm
I didn't like the fact that they decided to have him propose right in the middle of all that. And I feel
Right.
kind of always tends to happen when there's like a big gathering and like they're celebrating like everybody else. They end up like becoming like stealing the thunder and then becoming like the one. And it's
hmm
like, but so
Yeah.
I mean, a lot of people forgot that they weren't even married. Like in the comments on
Me
people are like, wait,
too.
they're not married? Like
Right, I forgot that too. I was just like, wait, what's happening right now?
so
Wait, that didn't already
yeah,
happen? Yeah.
this
Um.
anticlimactic.
Yeah.
They didn't care. Like,
mhm.
um, but yeah,
Um.
so
I. And then the ending, like Barry's talking about
oh,
like
I
sharing
forgot
it.
to bring up my notes. I freaking took notes on these notes because I figured that it would be a bit before we could talk about them, and I freaking didn't even bring those up.
um.
I took
Like
so many.
you forgot you
Yeah, I
took
was like, Virtue
so
Five.
many.
There's a lot of people who hate Cecile on Twitter. And then I was like, no, Chester. Yes, Allegra with her powers. Because
Uh-huh.
remember, like, yeah, that was in part 3.
Yeah. Yeah.
And then when they like kiss and it's like spinning around them in like slow motion as they like when she like brings him back, I'm just like, oh my gosh,
Yeah.
Allegra. Yeah. So they actually sure of them. Yeah, that was part 3. Okay. So yeah. I didn't have as much for part 3 and had a lot for part 4, but yeah, so I liked what Allegra did with her powers and helping Chester. Um and then telling Barry to believe in the impossible. Oh,
hmm
that was so beautiful.
It was. Oh, I also before we talk about like the very end of it, I wanted to talk about Chester. We got
I was
the whole black hole talk with him.
like,
Like, oh, I was a black
we got
hole
what?
once. Like,
Oh yeah,
like
that stuff with
Chester's
Chester finding.
stuff. Like that there's still like tachyon particles or whatever around him. Like no Hawking particles or something like that.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because tachyon is heat. But the Hawking particles, like I was like, well, yeah, dude was a black hole. Like it's gonna happen. But then like it to me it seems like what Reverse Flash did to him might have awakened his powers a little bit. So maybe now he's got some like residual black hole powers that he's gonna be able to mess with, which I wish we would get
Yeah,
to
maybe.
see. But
Yeah.
Like, and the idea, the reason why he didn't have them in the future, right, is because everything is happening simultaneously all at once. Everything everywhere all at once. Good movie.
Yes, I need to watch that.
Sorry.
Off topic.
So,
Shen in The Mandalorian and Boba Fett. She just got her star in the Walk of Fame on May 30th.
wait, who did?
Ming-Na Wen, the one who voiced Mulan in the animated Mulan movie, and she's in The Mandalorian and
Wow.
plays Shen or something. Yeah, she got her star in the Walk of Fame.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
But like, because it's all happening at once and everything, like, it's like that's why they didn't know what was happening, right? In the past, they didn't know what was happening with Cobalt, or with the Cobalt gem or anything like that. They had no idea because it was happening all at once across the timeline. So that's why future Chester didn't have powers, because the past hadn't caught up with him yet. It hadn't solidified.
Yeah.
So I'm like, okay, Chester's got powers now. He just has to learn how to tap into them.
So yeah, I loved when Allegra did that with their powers and then them kissing, and it was just a beautiful moment.
It was.
And then Jay Garrick,
he shows up, yeah.
That was awesome to see him again for one last time.
Yeah.
And then, Keon telling Barry to believe in the impossible was really like special. The compromise that the Flash and Thawne came to. And then I was like, yeah, Chester has black hole powers, ?
Right? Like, I've been talking about that ever since he took over Cisco's position.
Did you see the little baby Flash helmet? Oh my God, it was so cute!
I missed it! I did not! I missed it!
Oh my gosh, it was so cute! It was this little baby helmet! It was so cute!
I'm gonna have to go back and look for that.
And then I was like, Professor Wells! The helmet, I think when they were in the waiting room at the hospital, one of them was holding it.
Oh,
the helmet. Yeah. But it was just this little baby Flash helmet. It was so cute. But yeah, I was like, Professor Wells! To see him back again as like Wells, not Thawne.
Right.
I mean, he came back as Thawne too, but like it was just cool to see him as Wells and talk to Caitlin because Wells is Caitlin's mentor. And so to be able to see him come back and see that be full circle, really cool.
Yeah.
And the spark took her hands, the West Allen stuff. I was like, West Allen has my heart. Hearing Joe sing, oh my gosh, heart. I'm like, bye, Keon. And then I'm like, Caitlin is back? ? Exclamation point.
Right.
And I said, baby Nora is the cutest. And then adult Nora holding baby Nora. Hint Art's birth. Did you see the Runaway Dinosaur book?
I did. I was like, oh my gosh. I was like, that's just so full circle for me. What?
I loved that Henry and Nora were at the party too.
Yeah, but that's not her name. Henry's wife's name isn't Nora.
Oh, okay. Well, I liked that they were there.
Yeah. I forgot what her name was, but her name wasn't Nora.
Yeah, it's okay. I just liked that they were there.
Yeah.
The Runaway Dinosaur book was so cute. And then her little Flash logo onesie. Did you see that? The little onesie with the
Did you
Flash
see her
logo
little
on it.
mobile? Her mobile was a bunch of little excess mobile like symbols. Just like her onesie was the excess symbol.
It's so cute.
Yes. Right? And was there anything else you wanted to talk about? And before
I mean,
we get to the
basically my notes
sharing of
after that.
powers? Before we talk about the sharing of powers.
Well, I mean, my notes
Bobby
after
the
the
final
run after the notes after the Flash logo onesie are Barry telling baby Nora the story from the pilot.
Mhm. Yeah, that was really cute.
And then just that whole ending part with him telling her about that and and that just like everything he was saying and
how,
like
and talking about like how
put
they
quote.
needed to share. Yeah. Like
Yeah, like
talking
I
about
even
how they
put
needed to share the power and stuff. I'm sorry, like it keeps freezing and then like so you were saying what?
Oh, I was just saying, yeah, like he telling her the story of the pilot and then just I put in caps when he's sharing it with 3 people and I the 3 people that he mentions and then I put like a quote, you know, the quote when he's talking about everything.
Yeah.
So he shares it. He's sharing his speed with 3 people.
Right.
Hope, Max Mercury, and just.
I wish we would get to see more of them because,
Yeah,
like, I mean,
that was.
like,
I mean, maybe if they do any more television, like if they do any more stuff with like Marvel, or maybe if they do any more stuff with DC things for the Flash, like on Max or whatever, they'll do that.
Right.
Or maybe we'll see them incorporate.
They are
into,
the
like,
Flash,
future.
like.
Yeah, but maybe we'll see them incorporated into future things that they do for the Flash.
Yeah.
Maybe if they do another movie or something, we'll see that.
But it would probably recast though. But yeah. Like, and I love like the name drops. Like I don't know much about them as the Flash, you know? Like what their names are specifically. I can't remember. Like I know that I knew at least one of them, like their Flash name. Well, I can't remember, and I don't think I knew the other 2, but I knew of them within the Flash family. Like their names are familiar with like to me, like you know, like you think about the Flash family tree, and then like I can picture their names there. I just don't know who they are. You know. Yeah. But I wish we would have gotten to find out. I love that Barry got to choose. You know that means that he was like I mean it's creepy because it means that he was stalking them. But
he wanted to make sure that by sharing his speed, he was giving it to people that were going to use it for good.
Right. Yeah. And
that we're not going to be people that were going to use it badly. That could handle it, that were capable, that, you know.
I love that he gave it to someone who's already perpetually late, like him. Like, she used the same excuse, like, car trouble. I don't have a car. Right. Just like
Yeah.
Barry. Like, I'm like, oh my gosh, it's like female little Barry.
Mm-hmm.
Female season 1 Barry. Oh my gosh, yes, queen.
I know, right? Well, that's what
Yeah.
fan fiction is for. People can write their stuff in fan fiction. Like,
Yes.
that would be awesome.
Yes. That would
So
be
yeah,
that.
I would too. So yeah, I put the quote where he's like, maybe if we share a piece of ourselves, we can break out of our old cycles of violence and pain and create a new world for you, Nora. A better one. One where we can coexist, all of us together. A world where nothing has to be impossible as long as we believe in it.
Mm-hmm.
I was just like, and then when you see the lightning flashing in baby Nora's eyes.
Yeah. And then you see the title screen. You're like, no. I needed
Yeah.
more. I needed just one more second.
I know. I mean, overall, aside from the fact that we didn't get what we wanted, it was still a good finale, I thought, for the most part.
I needed the twins.
I know. But aside from that, I felt like it was decent.
It was. I mean, aside from that,
Like, I
and
really
aside from Nora holding
loved
baby
that ending.
Nora.
Like, I really loved that ending part when he's talking to her and that whole last quote that he's talking about that I read. Like, all of that was like really, really special and really meaningful. So I really liked that. But yes, it was disappointing that they didn't go the tornado twin route, for sure.
Yeah. Oh.
I mean, this ending was better than Supergirl's ending.
That's for sure.
Even though you didn't get Supercore, at least with the Flash, we got some of the things that we wanted, you know?
Yeah. I mean, I had more issues with it than just not getting the Supercore.
Well, yeah, I mean, there was a lot of issues with it, but I think of all the ones that had an ending, you know, Arrow, Supergirl, and the Flash, I think the Flash had the best ending of the three.
Yeah.
And that just might be me being biased because it's my favorite, but I do feel like it was a decent ending. Like, it was satisfying enough to the point where I'm okay leaving it. You know what I mean? Like, it's not like, yes, of course I want more. I'm always going to want more of the Flash, but like, it ended in a way that it was hopeful and it was optimistic, and you know that things are going to be okay, and that there's going to be future Flashes because he's sharing his speed with these people, and it's going to continue that story all over. And so, you know that it's ending in a good place. And I think that that's the best way that you can end it. So.
Right. And I mean, in the future, we heard about the Justice League Tower. Like, so we know that it's not just Earth 2, because remember when we traveled to Earth 2 for the first time, you freaking had Aquaman on speed dial. Like, and I'm sorry, but it was speed dial on an old phone. But still. I'm gonna ignore the type of phone it was, but could not have possibly had speed dial, but did. Oh, but
I mean, all phones have speed dial, but go on.
I mean, nowadays. But I mean, that was
nowadays
one of those phones that you picked it up, and it had like the buttons that you push right there on the box that held the phone.
Yeah, it says redial. Yeah.
Like I mean,
Oh, not redial,
redial is not speed
no,
dial.
it had like, yeah, it had like 3 little things, and you had like 3 people that like were your top ones, and you could just speed dial them. Just hit that number, and it would like put the number. Hit that button, and it would put the number in and call them.
I never had that exact kind of phone, so I wasn't too
I think
sure.
my mom.
Mine
the
always
phone
had
that
the
my-
numbers
that my
in the
parents-
phone.
The phone that my parents used to have in their bedroom, it was like this gray, like this light gray kind of one that sat like this, and it had the antenna, and it was like the big hunky phone, and it had
Yeah.
like 3 buttons, and I think it had like you could speed dial, like if you put in that, if you just pressed 1, if that number was put in there, it would just dial that number for you.
Oh, that's nice.
I don't know
didn't
if all
have that on ours.
Yeah,
We
so I
didn't.
mean, not all phones had speed dial. That's
Yeah.
true, but anyway, sorry,
But,
that was a tangent.
I mean, yeah, but it's a fun one to have, especially for the final review.
Yeah.
But I mean, it's not our last talking about the Flash, but but like they mentioned the Watchtower, which is the Justice League. Like,
Yeah,
to think that
which we
even,
need to go back to
even in
watching
our
the animated one.
universe, yes, even in our universe, right, the universe that they exist in, we have confirmation that the Justice League completely and fully exists. Like, I mean, we had aspects of it, with Black Lightning and that whole thing with Barry, right? So we had the Black Lightning and his family, and we had Arrow in it, so that would be his daughter, and the Black Canary or Black Siren, whichever one she wants to go by, right? And then the Legion team and Supergirl, and then what did Supergirl call her team? What was her team's name? It was
I don't remember.
because I mean, like the entire team with everyone, the round table that sat with Black Lightning and Barry and everyone, that was like the Justice, because we had the Justice Society in in Legends, because that was in the past, and so I think they called themselves the League or something. I don't know, but yeah, with the Watchtower, that announces the formation of the Justice League. So maybe Batwoman returned and did that. Because they need Batwoman. Well, they need Batman, but in absence of a Batman, they have a Batwoman. So I mean, that just makes me think that we got Ray Palmer up there being the Atom, and all our friends from the past. Like
we need to go back and
Barry's
watch
out
the.
there. Huh?
We need to continue the animated Justice League.
Yeah, and we will. I promise. So yeah, like I mean, just the fact that we have the Justice League in our universe now, like officially, makes me happy. And that they have the Watchtower now, like,
yeah,
I don't know, there's
that's
something
nice.
about that. It just makes me happy. Of course, Wally is the Flash in Justice League. So it is a little odd. So it is a little slightly odd to me that Barry's the one in the Watchtower, because in Justice League it's Wally. But yeah. Um,
Yeah.
yeah. So I think the next thing we talk about, we're going to be doing a series recap for that.
Yeah, we're gonna just probably do our own, like we'll just do like a special video where we just talk about everything about, like, we just talk about the series as a whole, like not so much because we already did like character videos for the characters.
Yeah.
So it's more of just kind of like a series recap of like our favorite moments and like, you know,
Mhm.
what we liked about the series and things like that. Just kind
Yeah.
of like our memories and favorite things about it. So
Yeah. Um. Yeah.
favorite
So
West Allen moments, just favorite moments of other characters, favorite show moments, like, you know, different
yeah.
stuff.
Yeah.
So
So
I
I guess
guess
until
always
next time,
keep
keep
believing in the
believing
impossible.
in the impossible. Just like
Always
Barry.
and forever.
Yes. Just like Barry.
Yes. And keep running because he's always going to be running too. And I'm sure the future
Yes.
Flashes will keep running.
Of course.
Bye.